Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing well out there. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great, and appreciate you stopping by the channel. So, no whale stuff here today. I do want to talk about current players on the team as well, and one guy in particular, he's got a big fall coming up for him, and he had himself just a big year, and we haven't dove into... keep thinking I'm screwing that up. Dove into. Who gives a rat's ass? We're going to get into Tyler Herro and his extension and what Pat Riley had to say about Boy Wonder getting his buckaroos in the upcoming season. But before that, I just got to say something, if I can. I'm doing this. Panthers pouring it on Canada right now. I'm going to do a recap one way or the other, but it's either going to be an epically sad one because I just saw one of the biggest collapses of all time, or the Panthers are sending all of Toronto to squeaky cheeks. So we'll see that. But I've been seeing in the sports ether, it's been weird to me that today the NFL schedule comes out, and that's cool. Who doesn't love that's a win, that's a loss? But, we just had the draft lottery, and we did a recap on that and the Mavericks getting the number 1 overall pick. I feel like, in my bones, I don't know if you guys are crazy. Maybe this is because Heat fans were all upset. We thought, hey, that could have been our impossible chance of getting Cooper Flag, even though it was totally fixed. And I feel like most people think this is totally fixed. I got a couple guys who aren't like diehard NBA fans in my ether who are like, you really think so? I'm like, I don't know. What am I supposed to do with every time the Lakers get a star, the other team gets a pick, or hometown guys keep going and getting the number 1 pick? What am I to do with that? Am I just supposed to believe in coincidences all the time? Don't know, dude. I don't think that I do. But I have found it odd, really strange, that the NFL media has come out recently and been like, this is amazing. The draft lottery? We got to get in on this. And I could not think of anything dumber than the NFL going into the draft lot. Nobody really likes the draft lottery, I don't think. And especially most people after this, where everybody seems to think it's fixed. You already have people thinking the NFL is scripted, right? But on top of that, you want to add something in the NBA, and I don't get into the whole ratings thing. I think a lot of that stuff is a waste of time. I think I talked a little bit about like the Heat ratings going down, but I think that was pretty explainable as to why. And I think that was one that warranted like a deep dive. You have everybody sitting here and being like, hey, I think it's fixed. I don't like this. Maybe some of the bad teams should get good players to be better. And nobody has mastered parity quite like the NFL. And I find it strange that the NFL media is like, we got to do this too. No, you don't. Everybody already loves the NFL draft. They love it. You don't need to do everything basketball. You already infiltrated into Christmas. You don't need to do it. It's stupid. I sometimes I look here at the sports talk stratosphere and I'm just like, that is dumb. You don't need to, first of all, you don't need to fix repercussions for a 16-game schedule. 82, that's one thing. Okay, I can understand every night in and night out it being an unwatchable product. 16 weeks is a cakewalk, dude. It's really not that hard. And so I don't understand this. But anyway, I digress. So Tyler Herro has a big fall coming up. But I do feel like it's pretty much been decided already on what the Heat are going to do with his extension. I don't think this is going to be a very big debate. And in fact, Pat Riley was pretty close to the vest in a lot of things that he said in his press conference. I thought that his temperature on Tyler Herro was pretty honest. And I will say this about Pat. He's been asked the extension question now, I guess this is 4 times in the last 5 years. And he's been pretty honest about it. You go back to the Bam extension, when Bam was up for his first extension, he said, we're going to take care of him. The Jimmy thing, obviously last year, he was honest and he said no. And now the Tyler one is basically like, we've already talked about it. He's cool. And I kind of believe, based on what Tyler said, what Pat said.
Going back to the question that Zachary asked, when you get to Tyler's extension window in October and his max salary, can this team afford to make a decision in that window, already having Bam at that level, with, I assume, the thought that you probably need one more top-tier player to get to the highest possible level? In other words, how does the timing on Tyler work, and can you afford to max him in today's NBA economy?
I think he answered that question perfectly last week. I think you asked him that question. I think he answered it perfectly. He's okay. It's like the Midas Muffless commercial. Pay me now or pay me later, right? I mean, whatever it is. But, you understand what I'm talking about, Yeah. And so we've already talked about it, and I've talked about it with Tyler. And so, we'll see what happens as we plan, The numbers are getting pretty big for a lot of guys, and max salaries in this league, who do they go to? I mean, who do they go to? And who is really, if you're going to make $70 million a year, who are those 5 guys or 10 that deserve that? But definitely Tyler is deserving of the thought of an extension. But are we going to do it? We haven't committed to it, but we're going to discuss it, and I've already talked to him about it. He's cool.
That the writing's already on the wall for Tyler's contract. He's not getting a contract extension in the fall unless he were to agree to something at a major discount, which I think Tyler Herro's already said, no, I'm not. He's already put it out there that we can wait, but it's going to be more expensive, which I told everybody at the time with the answer. I have no problem with Tyler saying that. I think that there is times that call for confidence and there's times to dial it back. That was one where I was like, perfect answer. I love that from Tyler Herro. Perfect answer from that. Certainly better than, by the way, Max Strus texting everybody and being like, if you don't believe, just don't show up for work, and then giving another goose egg. Jeez, Max. Handsome as you may be, my friend, that was a rough one. But for Tyler's standpoint, I think it's already written. There was some talk of, is this going to be a story? I don't think it's going to be a story. Now, maybe we'll be sitting here in October. I'm wrong. I have thought the caveat to it is this. If the Miami Heat are able to pull out a whale move, a Giannis, a KD, a whatever, even if it's their big move is Larry Markkinen or whomever. I think if the Heat are able to pull something off this summer, then maybe they revisit it. But I think on the outset, if this ends up being a reset season and this ends up being a step back season, then I think the Miami Heat put it in the perspective of, oh, no. We're going to taper it back and then we'll take care of it in the summer. And that's the direction. Because, look, I think from Tyler's perspective, I don't love where the NBA is at, where everybody's basically a max or a minimum. There's no in between. We talked about this a little bit with the Davion Mitchell thing. Like, what does Davion Mitchell even make? I don't know. What does a fine player make these days? $20 million? Like, it's crazy to me. This is more than D Wade made. This was not that long ago, and I'm not hating on it. It just is what it is. So for Tyler, it's like, yeah, well, I'm obviously one of the best players on the team, so I get a max. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but you got to be careful about this stuff these days because your guys need to be guys. And one thing for Tyler is awesome year for him, all-star year for him, worked his ass off, was available. The playoffs were what they were. Not great. They haven't been great. Hasn't exactly been able to prove himself to be a postseason player. That's okay. We've seen some other guards struggle here too, but not quite to his level of struggle. And the durability seems like it got answered this year, but there has been more of a pattern. If I was the Heat, I would still love to see a full year of health from Tyler. I think that's fair. So all of those things considered, I think it's okay. Unless you're getting some kind of a discount that he wants to sign up for, not only do I not see any reason to extend him this offseason, I think it's the smart thing not to extend him. Because, and look, this isn't a Tyler versus Bam thing. It's not. It's a timing thing. You know, Bam's been fortunate enough where his extensions have been up. One of them was after a finals run, and one of them was a year removed from a finals run that he was obviously a key component of. Yeah, Tyler was not. He was injured and has been injured. And now he had a good year, but it was after one of the worst seasons that he'd had. Timing is everything with this stuff.
I will steal one of Spo's favorite Spoisms, ignitable. He's one of the most ignitable guys offensively in the league, and we're happy to have him. He's 25, 26 years old. He's coming off an all-star year, and he was voted in by the coaches. That means something. And so he's pivotal for us as an offensive player. We just need more around him that can do a little bit of what he does, because now he's getting beat up. He's getting schemed, overly schemed. And so we'll learn a lot about that. And so, you know, Tyler is a player, and I hope he could stay here the rest of his career and that we can build the team that he's part of, because you've seen him at the end of games. My God, you see him in the fourth quarters. But now when you're in a position of having two on the ball all the time and you're getting picked up full court, 94 feet, and I know for a fact that Tyler was telling Max, could you use some Listerine, please, or something like that, because he face guarded them all over the court, and it's a whole nother world that he's in now. And so people will sacrifice so much on defense just to wear him out that sometimes it's strange for your other four players to say, God, we can't even get him the ball and stuff. So those are the things that coach is very good at and has to really identify and reconcile. And then Tyler simply has to learn how to be a great player like Steph is when he gets that treatment, and to be able to still score. And there's going to be nights when he's going to have those 4 for 20 games. He's just one of those guys. But I'm glad that we got him. You know, got he and Bam at the right time, and we'll move forward with that.
So, look, I think for him, it's honestly a good place, because like if he goes balls out, has another all-star season, hell, improves. Maybe he can get to all-NBA if possible. This is also going to be an East that looks pretty bereft of talent as it stands right now. Who knows who sways? Giannis, KD, whoever. Like, we'll see how the wind blows. But as of right now, it looks pretty maybe he can kill it and have an amazing season, and we'll see what the Heat pull off. But I really thought that Riley spelled out, no, we're not doing that, especially if it's a max that he's asking for. And I don't think there's really any games there. I thought Riley played a lot of games in this press conference of like, what are we going to do? Who knows? Change the form of sanity, blah, 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 blah. A lot of gray area. This, I thought he was very honest. And he also said, hey, listen, I hope he plays his whole career. I don't think that was bull bleep. I think he was sincere with that. I think he was sincere with saying that he wants Tyler Herro to finish his career with the Miami Heat, which would be cool. Who wouldn't want their own drafted to be total success stories? That's awesome. And I think it's already been the one thing you got to give Tyler credit for is he has blocked out a lot of noise. He has blocked out a lot of stuff that would crumble a lot of guys. He's got other stuff to prove. All right, I'm not here to give him extra brownie points or anything like that, but lesser things have folded players of his caliber, and I think he has dealt with a lot of noise in the right way. He's definitely gotten a more positive mindset when it's come to comparison stuff, other stuff like that. Is he out in the Twitter streets with some rabbit ears every now and then? Yeah, maybe. You see the fat thumbs on likes that some people will expose. It's natural. KD's still out here at 36 years old responding to people. Tyler's 11 years younger than him. Like, some guys look for that stuff. They do. I don't know if that's ever going to go away. But I do genuinely think the organization values him. I think that's been clear. I don't think they've wanted to throw him into any deal. And I don't think that they have been eager to throw him into any deal, such as the case that he is here. But I don't think Riley's lying either. I think Riley's like, yeah, we talked. We will talk. We've had a conversation. When you've already had the talk about it and it's been brought up and you're transparent and he's saying he's cool, this isn't going to be a Jimmy Butler situation, basically, which I think is good for Tyler. I think Tyler, from his standpoint, I said it again, he answered it perfectly. I remember a 22-year-old Tyler Herro, very vocal about how much he didn't like being a sixth man. He did it, but it always kind of came with a caveat. It was always like, yeah, but I want to be starting. No tricks. This is one where I feel like he's secure in himself. He is genuine, and this will go through at an easier pace. And I don't think there's going to be much drama surrounding it. So, we can see. I could be wrong. I could be way off on this. Maybe everybody's just putting up a brave front right now because they got their ass kicked and business talks go awry in the summer. But it kind of felt like everybody was on the same page. I don't think anybody was really here of asking I need to get my bag. It's like, nah, that wasn't good enough. We all got our ass kicked. I don't even know if I'm in that spot right now of being upset. Like, at least when Jimmy's doing it, Jimmy's got, finals runs to his name and stuff. Like, and their only caveat there is age and physicality. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with an organization telling to a player, hey, you first of all, Tyler's making 30 plus a year, so he's doing all right, or around 30. I don't know his exact number, but he's making good dough, which he deserves. But to get the bump, we want to see a little bit more success around these parts, especially after a year like that. And it doesn't feel like there's any ill will around it.